Hi again.
Still
Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. We have a special guest in the show for you this evening. We have an artist that we have had visit with us a couple of times before, but she is just such an incredible artist. She is living in Phoenix, Arizona, but she is a Nashville recording artist and super, super talented. We are so honored to have her back. Please join me in welcoming none other than Raquel Aurilia. Raquel, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I am fantastic. Even better now that we got you on the show. This is so
Now we're here.
cool.
We're here.
I'm glad you were able to squeeze in an hour out of your life. Even getting you on the phone is a neat trick. But
I feel so bad. I've been a little bit busy in a few directions lately, but yes, I'm glad that we got to connect today.
that is so cool. So you have a new release out there. There's still time. How's that doing? I know we're getting requests for it. I'm just wondering how it's doing. What your feedback has been.
It's good. It's a song that I wrote years ago, but I co-wrote with Billy Trudell. It's a great song that I like wanted to share the message, but we never did anything with it. So we put it on my second album and just let it sit. And the more it's always had a really special place in my heart. And I feel like I wrote it originally because I wanted to shop it to I don't know if you watch those shows, but sometimes Celebrity Rehab was a show that I was watching, and I
Sure.
kind of got engulfed in the messages and like these poor the stories just got to me. And why I wrote it initially was because of that. Like I wanted to reach out. Like there's still time to like once you hit rock bottom, and there's still time to fix things. But I wrote it for that. But then as I was writing it, people kind of took to it in another way with relationships and things that have failed in their lives, like something they've messed up and they wanted a second chance and just hoping that there's still time to fix things. So we left it with a good message to, there's still time to redo things and do it better even. You never know. So
I love that. Just that message there is just so positive and it's so cool. You have had quite a track record too, with the folks that you've worked on the road, and
mhm.
we're going to talk about that on the road bit in just a minute. But you've worked with some legends in the industry. Tony Papa, who's worked with James Brown, Willie Nelson, and John Denver, Gardner Cole of Madonna and Jody Watley fame, and Billy Smiley, Johnny Cash, um, CC Winans, Vince Gill.
Mhm.
Jeez. So talk to us about that. Share. Time to spill a little tea on that information.
Well, I met Tony Papa through a mutual friend. I'd been hearing about him for years, and I was too afraid to meet him because I didn't have any music ready, and I didn't want to, first impressions are everything. So I was
Oh,
like,
sure. Yeah.
I don't want to meet him and not be ready. So he sent me a song. We talked on the phone, and then went to LA. And we went in the studio and a song called Tears, which is on my very first album. I didn't write the song, but I loved it. And he heard me sing it, and he said, "Oh my goodness, let's do another song." And let's just before you know it, we did a whole album together. And he was really influential in my start of my career because he was really kind of took on in the beginning like a little bit of a managerial role for me. Like he kind of was helping me at the shows and making sure there was the great good sound system and the engineers. He would talk to them, and he was great. So I met him, and then I ended up meeting Gardner Cole just by chance because I was trying to find a band locally here in Arizona, and we went to his studio. Somebody had set up a meeting, and I walked in and I saw all of his like plaques everywhere and his
Right.
records, just like in shock, like what in the world. And he asked me if I wanted to write together, and I said I don't even know. I don't write. I've never written a song. And he said, well, why don't you go home and try, and come back and let's just think about some stuff. He gave me a few pointers, and I went home and I started looking at different people's styles and started to come up with. I came up with two songs, one called "You'll Never Know" and one called "Their Walk Away." And those are the very first songs I ever wrote. And I co-wrote them with Gardner Cole and one of my background singers and one of my really good friends, Billy Trudell, who toured with Elton John for 7 years. So that's kind of how that started. But yeah, Gardner's my neighbor. He literally lives like 2 minutes down the road from me.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we ended up doing an album together called Holding On to Love. So we did a lot of songs that turned out into a full album. I just saw him like probably about 2 months ago because I recorded another track with him and at his home studio. He has a great studio. And then Billy Smiley, I met. We were doing some events out here, and he was out here as well. He goes back and forth to Nashville and Arizona,
Yeah.
and he and I have done. We did a lot of tracks on my third album called where is it? Oh, Long Way Home. It took me a minute, but yeah. So Long Way Home, and so Billy and I worked on that together, and co-wrote some songs. And I'm gonna see him in a couple weeks too. We're gonna write some more songs together when I go to Nashville. So that's
That,
kind of how I met those guys, and it's been kind of fun just to they're three completely different like producers, and then how their style is and what they do, and their stories and their backgrounds. But they're all really great guys.
okay, that's cool. For any of our listeners or viewers who are interested, coming up in November will be all kinds of songwriting workshops here in Nashville, so you might want to check that out. But you've also worked with some other really big names. Well, first of all, you toured 25 cities with John Waite, right?
Yeah, yeah,
How's
that was
that? That must have been a lot of fun.
you know what? He is a class act. I mean, every time I think of John, I have great memories because, touring, and it's funny, touring is, you never know, like when you open for someone, if you're going to even meet them. You don't, that's not a given that you're going to get to meet even the,
Exactly. Yeah.
and a lot of people go and you sit backstage and you wonder if you're even going to meet them, or like sometimes you just go on, do your thing, and you leave. But with John, I was booked for two shows with him, and in New York, and I opened for him at BB King's in New York. In his From the minute we met, they were just the nicest people. His bass player Tim Hogan is one of the nicest guys ever, and made sure that we were taken care of, and got us a green room, and then that show turned into 25 shows. So like it just started out as a few, and then ended up being like we just had a good connection, and they were great to my band and I, and so that was fun. I learned a lot from him about just being a perfectionist in the way he is, and he sounds amazing, and he's very picky in how his sound systems are, and I love that about him because it means something to him, and that's that says everything. He cares. So I love that.
Okay.
But I learned a lot, and I loved listening to him sing every night. It was like a treat for me. So
Exactly. So we have another little teaser for the listeners and viewers out there. We have a new segment coming up at Heart of Indie Radio called On the Road. But that's all we're going to tell you about it right now, but it's kind of cool.
yes.
It's coming. So, but you've also worked with some other big names too. BB King, Eddie Money, Pat Benatar, Kenny Loggins. You have any really fun stories? I'm not going to put you in the corner and make you choose. What was the most fun concert? No, that's
Yeah,
awkward.
that would be
But the
yeah.
fun stories are cool.
Um, it's funny because I think, well, BB King obviously was my very first concert that I did, like a big concert for a big name, and I was just blown away that I was getting to open for BB King, and uh, he played like forever. He played 3 hours. He's tireless, and he's just amazing, and opening
I
for
love
him
him
was
to
just
death. He
yeah.
was
He
an
played and played
icon.
and played. Yeah, he was pretty cool. So yeah, I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed. It's hard. It's funny because opening for Eddie Money, he was with Pat Benatar here in town, so they were together. In I had opened for him before in San Francisco for an All Star game that I did during the baseball All Star weekend one time, and he's always just such a great guy that is just very friendly and outgoing, and just really fun, and a cool guy. And so yeah, I've been fortunate to like not only open for them, but to meet them, and have a chance to take a photo, or say hello and visit for a few minutes. And met with Lisa Loeb. She was really I loved meeting her because we performed together, and it was freezing, and for whatever reason the heat was out at the venue that night, and we were both like frozen and that waiting, because you go to sound check, and like 3 hours later then you finally perform. But there was no, for whatever reason, the heat wasn't working in the venue, and we were just like bundled up, and we had a lot of time to sit and visit. And she's a sweet lady, and very professional, and yeah, it's just like if I was like chatting with a friend. She's, if you didn't know who she was, she's just so just down to earth and really cool. But they've all been really nice. I've had some great experiences, so
Yeah.
I can't complain.
I think artists grow as a person too, based on their interactions with other artists, especially
Yeah,
mainstream artists that have, they've learned the ropes the hard way, and you kind of
yeah.
learn through them. And, your own experiences are kind of shaped by that. So what's coming up in fourth quarter? We are rounding into the fourth quarter of 2021 and headed into 2022. What's new? What can we expect from Raquel Aurilia?
I'm going, like I said, I'm going to Nashville and I'm finishing up a couple songs that I have that I started to write. Gosh, I actually started writing this one song before the pandemic when I was in Nashville with my guitar player. His name is Damian Martin. And we started to write a song together because we've been playing together for a few years now, and we've never written together. And he writes and does a bunch of stuff, and he plays guitar. He doesn't sing, but and I'm like, you know what? Why have we never sat down and tried to write a song together? Like, what are we doing? We've got this. You can play guitar. I can. Let's do this. So we have two songs that I want to work on, and so I have some time set aside for him then, and then. Try to get in the studio. I have some time set aside with Billy Smiley. So I'm working on some new stuff, originals. And I have some cover songs that have been done for a while. We're just slowly releasing them because we kind of did those during the pandemic. We were going to just do like an EP of covers. And then we decided just to release them separately instead. So yeah, just speaking of Kenny Loggins, we did Danny's song. And
Oh, cool.
which is one of my all-time favorite songs. And that was a treat, by the way, listening to that live after our set to hear him perform. But that's one of my favorite songs. So we did that, and it's done, and we're going to release it probably, I want to say, the next week or two. It's ready to go. We're just waiting on a release date.
That is
But we'll
so
put it on
cool.
Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere, so people can hear my version anyway. And I kept it pretty true. I always keep the covers pretty close to the originals for
Yeah,
obvious reasons. So.
yeah. That is really exciting news. So, any of the songs that you're working on or have already written, or any of them holiday, Christmas songs?
No, I've yet to write a Christmas song. I need to get on that, but I've yet to do it. I keep saying every Christmas that I'm gonna write, and every Christmas comes and goes, and I'm like, oh shoot, next Christmas. But it is something I thought about trying to write and see. I mean, I have some ideas. So when I'm with Damien, if we have enough time, we may kind of start delving into the one song that I started to write like 2 Christmases ago. But we'll see.
Well, we have a special concert coming up for the holidays, the Indie Christmas 2021. First time we've ever done it.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's just for indie artists, and it's just original holiday Christmas music. So it's
Oh,
not
that's
covers,
great.
it's just holiday music. So if you come up with something by
Yes,
then, you're
it might
welcome to join.
be.
So
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully we can get that. It's just been a while, so I have to revisit it and finish writing it. And if I can get it all done before that, we'll try to finish it. That'd be fun.
well, no matter what, we'll have you back by Christmas because we have some really exciting news to announce out there. But thank you so much for joining us again and letting everyone hear your story and see you here on the screen. How can everybody find you online? How can listeners find you?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. They can find me at raquelaurilia.com, which is my website.
Right?
On anywhere online anymore, like LinkedIn, Spotify, Google, you name it. The music's on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music. Anywhere you can buy music online, you can pretty much CD Baby, you name it. So the music's available all over the place. And yeah, I'm pretty active on social media, so Facebook too, and Instagram and all that. So
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for joining us, and we will see you back, I guess, around Christmas time.
Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
everybody. We're going to get back to music right now here at Heart of Indie Radio.